Welcome back to the Bounce Back Leadership Show. Whew, I gotta tell you, it's been quite a weekend. We were this weekend we had an event where we went to and actually I got to speak and share with other speakers in regards to how we are putting together our stories. So it's an event called, it's through NSA, which is the National Speakers Association, but the event is called ProTrack. ProTrack is a teaching, if you will, of how to be a better speaker, how to build your own speaking career. So that was phenomenal. And then Sunday was a nice day of relaxation with my wife and some friends. We had a good time. So there's that as well. I made my specialty pancakes, which is always good. But we had a lot of fun. Anyway, so we have a special guest coming on today, and he's going to talk more about bounce back leadership. And he's going to tell a little bit more about how he has done some of the things that I've done in my life in order to be able to bounce back. And it's just phenomenal to have such friends, really friends. I mean, I'm getting a little choked up. Friends that are willing to invest in you, and just phenomenal to have that kind of people with you. So hopefully you have somebody like that as well. If you don't, call me, and I'll be your friend. I'm always happy to be somebody else's friend. So we have a special guest coming on next week. I'm going to tell you about that in a little bit. But first, we're going to bring our guest today. He's a friend of the show. He's none other than Mr. And I gotta find my mouth first. Let's see, Mr. Austin Grammon.
Ooh. Austin. Hi. Oh man, I'm so happy to be here. Can I make 2 quick comments real fast, Brian?
Sure.
Okay, first of all, I wish so badly that I could just bottle your energy and then drink it as like my elixir every morning, because I'm convinced I would be getting so much more done in my life. So I really respect that. Yeah. And the second thing is I'm very confused why, though I came on the show this morning, I didn't get any of your special pancakes. And I feel like next time you're going to have to flash freeze those things and ship them to me, man.
We can do that. I have no doubt.
Right. Okay. That sounds good. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on, Austin. I know this is a little early for you, so we appreciate you being on.
It is, yeah. You know, I got this cold brew coffee here, and I will say this is Busy coffee from Minnesota, and it is very potent. So if anybody here is listening and needs like a caffeinated, simple way of getting their mornings going, Busy coffee. I'm not sponsored. I'm just a fan. So go check that out.
S-Y?
B-I-Z-Z-Y. Yeah.
Z-Z-Y.
Yep. Minnesotan cold brew. My business partner Taylor would approve of this, and it is delicious and very strong.
The one that introduced you to that.
That's exactly correct. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Okay. We got a friend on here who wants to say hello. Austin, Ted Legal.
Ted hears me. Ted gets
it. Awesome. Yeah. B-I-Z-Z-Y. So
yeah, maybe we can find a link or something.
That's the coffee.
That's right.
Wow. Great, Austin. Thank you. So Austin, let me ask you that one question first, and then we'll roll on. But when have you experienced a setback recently? I know you've told us before about setbacks you've suffered in your life, and we all have setbacks. But what is a recent setback you've had?
Yeah, that's a good question. So recently has come to a climax of sorts. Started maybe like 6-ish months ago. But man, I've been on a personal growth journey, you know, like I realized that my work and my personal life and everything was suffering because I wasn't doing a great job of taking care of myself is really the long and short of it. And there was many things that came out of that realization, some little steps, some hardships, but eventually it led to me running my first ever half marathon. That just happened like a little over a week ago. I got that thing done, and it was the single hardest thing that I've ever done in my life physically. But I did it, and it's been an adventure. So maybe we can go that direction if you want to sort of unpack that line of thinking.
All right, cool. If you want to hear more, stay right there. Thank you for the segue. That's awesome.
Oh, good. Yep. I know how the show works now, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Ted, what up? And congratulations on writing your first book. That is so exciting, man.
He wrote a book? Where
working on it, it looks like. Plus, I am writing my first book. That is a process.
Wow. Yeah. Everybody can see that.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool, Ted. That's so cool.
Yes, it is.
Austin, tell me a little bit more about this running thing.
Yeah. So, this goes back to, about 6 months ago now. It would have been end of April, basically. And, like, I'm a very, I say this as humbly as I can already, but I'm a pretty driven person. I like to get stuff done in my life. But I take it to an extreme oftentimes. I take just about everything I do to an extreme. And I realized that my focus on entrepreneurship really had gotten to a point where I had sacrificed basically like my personal well-being in exchange for the business growth. And there's reasons for that. I'm not beating myself up over that decision, but that was the reality of it. And what that meant, like in terms of results, I'd put on 100 pounds in like 3 years. I wasn't sleeping enough at all, getting almost no exercise, eating like crap all the time. Basically, I was just in pretty poor physical condition, I think, and mentally too. Like you don't feel good, and you're tired all the time, and so I was just not in a great headspace. And it's actually kind of funny because I think that sometimes if you're running into any sort of hardship in your life, I think that depending on how severe it is and how deep you are in it, it takes something to sort of shake you out of it, right? And basically, I had this realization one day that I was like, I really wish that I had like more time for myself, because I would wake up, I'd be at my desk within a half hour of waking up most days working, and I would work until 5 or 6 o'clock, get off, and then the rest of the day I'd be spending time with my family, which I'm not saying that I don't want to spend time with my family. It is the single most important thing in my entire life to me. But it left no time for myself at all. And so I was like, all right, the only way I'm going to fit any time for myself in is if I wake up really early in the morning. And so thus began my journey of trying to wake up at 5 a.m. Now, I value my sleep. Okay. Waking up at 5 a.m. is not something that comes naturally to me. And so I found myself doing this like repeating alarm button thing. Every morning I'd hit the snooze button like 5 times. And then I would be the same thing. I'd be up a half hour before I wanted to be at my desk, go right to work. It was miserable. So I stumbled across what is maybe my new favorite device of all time. It is called the Pavlok. Have you heard of the Pavlok, Brian?
No.
Okay. That's maybe not such a bad thing. Okay. Basically, it's a watch. It's a bracelet that you wear, right? Okay. And they pitch it as a habit breaking device, which indeed it is that. But the main thing behind it is that it uses electricity to stimulate your skin and get you to not do or do whatever you want to do. And that's a good way of saying that it shocks you, Brian. It's a bracelet that electrocutes you. Mild electrical stimulation, as they say. But yeah, so I was just like, I'm just going to give this a shot. So I bought the thing and I tried it the first morning, and you go to hit snooze and it doesn't like that. It shocks you when you press snooze. And so it zapped me, and boy, I was up right away, Brian, immediately, adrenaline surging through my veins. It was wild.
Really?
Yeah, but I woke up, and so it's like, holy crap, now I've got a good 2.5 or so hours before I need to be doing anything. And so basically I just had to figure out how to fill my time. And so I made some decisions to go in that direction, but maybe I'll pause there for a moment in the story.
So tell me, you got so many questions there. For one, how did you make the decision to go with a Pavlok? Two, I mean, it shocks you. Have you read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear?
I have. Yes, I love that book. James is a brilliant guy. I read that book after I discovered the Pavlok. So, I feel like I really needed it though. I needed something that was a little bit more aggressive. That was going to really, just get me going, and I just, I came across it on like a Facebook ad or something years ago, like when they were on Kickstarter initially, and I ignored it at the time. But then when I remember that one of the things they pitch is like, it can be your alarm clock and you will not sleep in when you use this alarm clock. I was like, all right, well, let's give it a shot. And they deliver on that promise. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. It's good. It's good.
So you've got the Pavlok. You get shocked when your alarm clock goes off, or you go to hit the snooze button. You didn't know what you were doing yet. You didn't know how to fill that time. But you just start running.
So not quite. Basically, when I first started waking up, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go drink some coffee and maybe read the news and I don't know, meditate, stretch, that kind of stuff, just little stuff. And that was great. But then I felt like I wanted to like move my body and go do something. And I had just recently, like maybe 2 months before, moved. I had just bought this new house that I'm in now. And so I was like, well, I'm going to use this time to go explore the neighborhood. Like, I'm just going to wake up early and go on a walk. And so that's what I did. I went on a walk and I would just like wander the neighborhoods and see the cool houses and you get some inspiration, landscaping stuff, and yeah, basically that walking routine became my morning. Like for an hour and a half every day, I'd make a cup of coffee and I would just go walk around the neighborhood.
That's cool.
And I did that for a long time. And actually what was funny was that I immediately started seeing some real benefit from that. For one, like I had this alone time. And so, man, I was feeling much better. I felt like I was a human being dictated by my own will, which I know sounds crazy, but at the time I really needed that. And I did that. And I mean, I started losing some weight because I was doing something other than just sit in front of my desk all day long. And I was starting to eat a little healthier because it's easier to wake up earlier in the morning. You feel better if you had eaten well the day before. And so I started just seeing myself make all these little decisions that were adding up to me feeling a lot better. And, the running thing happened because I got bored. I just got bored of walking. It's like, really? I just need to do something else. And, it was fun. It's almost comical, right? But like the first time is like, I don't think I've run in like 10 years. This was seriously.
Have you been a runner before?
Not really. No, I played sports a lot in high school, right? And I'm only 25, so you got to remember that, right? I'm just a young buck, but I had been active in the past, and so I knew I could be, but I hadn't in so long. And I was like, I'm just going to try this. So I would like run like 100 feet and then just wheeze for, it was so bad. But it was kind of fun. Like I kind of got a kick out of it. And then that translated into just running every day. Really. I got into the habit where I was just going on a mile. I'm not pushing it hard or anything, just going out and getting the blood pumping and feeling good. And man, you start getting those like endorphins, right? As you start running more, and it feels so good. So, like I was just listening to my body, I guess, and it just wanted to go do stuff. So I just accepted that.
How did you decide on a half marathon? Do you have a friend out there you run with?
Yeah, I don't. I always run by myself. I prefer it that way. I put in my headphones and listen to a podcast or a book or something and just go. But no, my brother-in-law actually was. He brought up the idea. He's like, let's do a half, and I was like, I can't even imagine what that would be like. Like I just started like running for the first time ever, like a couple of months ago.
And when you did it, how did you feel?
It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, honestly. Yeah, I would love to say like, yeah, I conquered that thing. I absolutely did not. It was so difficult. Like, And well, this is totally tangential to the idea of this show, but like they say that this half marathon that I ran is the hardest in the state of Utah because it's the only one that you don't run downhill. Almost every other marathon in Utah, you start at the top of a mountain and you run down the canyon. But
really?
this one, this was out on Antelope Island, which is this little pocket of land that's technically, I think, a peninsula out in the Great Salt Lake. And it's really hilly. And I had trained on absolutely no hills, Brian. Not one time did I run a hill. I was running flat, just straight flat. And so like my legs were locking up and like I was working muscles that I didn't even know I had. Like I almost had to drag myself across the finish line, but I finished it. And that is a huge achievement in my mind, especially coming from 6 months ago.
So did your brother-in-law stick with you?
So no, absolutely not. He smoked me. He was like, he was finished probably before I hit the halfway point, but it ended up being me and him, and then his brother, my other brother-in-law, who was actually closer to my levels of physical fitness. So we ran almost the whole thing together. And holy crap, I mean, if we're talking about ways that you can push through hard times in your life, like find somebody that's willing to go through it with you, because going alone is way harder than if you have somebody that's got your back during the thing. So anyways, there's the two of us and then a cousin. So there are 4 of us total that ran it, but
Ted has some things to say here, but I agree. He's got his book cover written or cover made. Wow. And he was on here to talk about what he did.
Did one recently in your wheelchair, dude. Respect. I'm over here talking about how you're awesome, man. You inspire me.
Yeah.
People like you are what make it possible for the rest of us. So cheers, my friend.
Agreed. Ted has spent a lot of time in the hospital over the last year or so, and what he has been able to do in spite of that has been phenomenal. So
wow, that's amazing. Is that a guest that's been on the show?
He's not been on the show yet, but hopefully he'll be on someday soon. We'll see.
I'm just saying, I would tune into that show.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so what happened here? I'm flashing. I don't know why I'm flashing. Well, that's odd. Huh.
Get some glow sticks, make it a party.
Right. Yeah. Hide, show. Huh. Hide. And show. Okay. It doesn't like that. Well, that's interesting. All right.
Well, that's how it goes.
So, okay. That's the way it is. So let's see. What else can I do here? We'll just leave it up.
Great. Ted, you're featured today.
Yeah, right. That means you have me on now, Ted. Awesome. Cool. Well, so let's relate this back to, and like you already did a little bit, relate this back to BounceBack leadership. How can we take what you've learned on the race course, on the half marathon? I mean, that's a big deal. How can we take that experience and learn from it?
Yeah, it's I think it's a good question. I've actually spent some time thinking about that just myself. Like, what are really the lessons to take away from this? And the marathon itself was, I honestly think in some ways, the less interesting part. And the reason is because like it's an acute thing, right? You have to really dig deep for a short period of time to make it through. It took me almost 3 hours to run this half marathon, okay, which is like double what it should take any like fit person to run. And it was really difficult. And I was in a lot of pain and just exhausted. So like that was gnarly. But I think like for me, the lesson that I learned and that I'm going to like really take with me, and that I am taking with me in a lot of degrees, is that it's not one big thing ever. If there's ever a hardship in life, it's okay, maybe not ever, I don't know, but in my life at least, there's never been one thing that was like the thing that made the difference, I guess.
Ta-da!
Yeah, it's a lot of little decisions, and you kind of just have to start with where you're at, you know? Like when I started this whole adventure that led me to the half marathon, I was fat and feeling crappy and like demotivated and didn't have a lot of self-respect or confidence in myself at all. But what I knew was that, well, it started with awareness. Like I came to the awareness of this and was like, this is a problem that needs to get solved. And then like I thought about like just the smallest thing that I can do, like wake my butt up a little earlier in the day. Like there, it takes no physical energy at all to do. Just wake up and go to bed a little earlier, because you have to get enough sleep at night, obviously. But it's easier to do actually when you're physically tired after working out, I learned. But yeah, like, so it was just the smallest little step. And then it was, well, just go walk in the morning for a little while. And then like the walk turned into a little bit of a longer walk. Then a little bit of a longer walk turned into like a little bit of a run plus some walking. And like, you just take it one little tiny step at a time where you're at. And like in the grand scheme of things, 6 months feels like it went by really fast. And at the time it didn't. It felt really slow. It felt like I was going to forever be stuck in this like state of not feeling good. But those little decisions over not even that much time, but some time, tend to add up to much bigger things. And so I guess like the long story short here is like, I learned that no matter how difficult the situation is, if you can just take an assessment of where you're at, honestly, if you honestly take a look at where you're at and then just decide on the smallest thing that you can start doing to improve the situation that you're in, and then actually do something about that. I mean, keep doing that and you'll end up finding that you went way further than you ever thought you could. I ended up running half marathon. I thought for sure that would cause me to stroke out and die, and I didn't. And so that's exciting, you know? So where else can I find that? Yeah. I think that's the lesson that I learned.
So it's a great lesson, but how did it make you feel?
I mean, it gave me confidence. That's really the biggest thing, you know, like physically I feel better. I lost 60 pounds. I'm down 60 pounds from where I started 6 months ago, which is very exciting. I'm eating better. I'm sleeping better at night. Yeah. So physically I feel a lot better, but I think the biggest thing is, I got some confidence back. I was like, holy crap, I can do hard things. You know? And because of that, like what else is hard that I can do? What else have I been avoiding that I could be improving on? And so like getting those little wins and then leading up to this big win, I don't know if I've ever felt more confident in myself, in my ability to do things that maybe seem impossible right now. And a whole window opens up to possibility when you let down the barriers that you put up for yourself, you know? So I think that's how it made me feel. It made me feel confident.
That's cool. So and then people on the call as well are internalizing this. So and I'm internalizing it. So for what it means for me is I can do anything I want to do. If I really want to do it, I want to put my mind to it. It can happen. So that is what I take from your story.
I agree. You know, it's funny too. Like I mean, I don't want to go on too much of a diatribe here, but like we get told when we're kids that the world is our oyster. We can do anything, you know, if you just put your mind to it and work hard, anything is possible. And I feel like as the years go on, like life kind of wears you down a little bit. Like you run into hardship after hardship, you fail, you lose loved ones, and you fight just the natural way that things progress sometimes, which is not for the better in some situations. And so I think that we forget that is a real truth, you know? And so for me, at least, when somebody says anything is possible, you can have all of your dreams come true. It's like, yeah, okay. But to not be dismissive of that, to really like think about what that means for you. I mean, there's a world there's a better future available for all of us if we're willing to accept the fact that that's true. So I want to really like stress that point. Like, remember, everybody listening, remember when you were a kid and people were telling you could achieve your dreams and how exciting that felt and how the world was just possibility at that point. And go back to that, you know, that's not something that's lost to I don't know, our childhood. We can be that now. It's just a choice that has to get made.
Ted wants to know what you do for a living. First he said he agreed.
Oh, good.
But yeah,
We're kindred spirits, Ted and I. I can feel it. And I own a software company, Ted.
okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Huh. Yeah, Ted is living this. I mean, he's one of those guys that's out there doing this every day, and he embodies what you're talking about. So it's great to have him on. Wow. I mean, it's amazing. We've already gone through the majority of our time here together today, and it's just been phenomenal to have you on, to have you speaking with us has been great. So I appreciate you. But
great.
What is it that you would leave our audience with today?
Oh man. Hopefully not a headache, I guess, but just kidding. Oh man. Okay. So, I mean, I think I landed the plane around anything is possible. So let me double back to where this starts, right? This starts with self-awareness. So I think if there's anything that you'd like to see improved about your life, it starts by taking a real look around and inventorying what's happening for yourself. So maybe, like, I don't know, if this has inspired anybody today, then grab a journal, sit down and just write for a little while. Write about the state of your life. What do you love about yourself? What do you dislike about yourself? What do you want to see improved? What strengths do you want to see getting even better? Like what weaknesses are you running into? I think being self-aware is really the place that it starts. Like, none of this would have been possible if I hadn't had the realization that not taking care of myself was leading to a bunch of downsides that I didn't want happening in my life, or didn't want to have happening in my life. So yeah, get honest with yourself. I think that's where it starts.
Do you think there's specific ways to become more self-aware other than just journaling and looking at your life and doing all that? I mean, are there other options that are out there?
Well, I think talking to other people helps.
Yeah.
I have a business coach, I have a therapist, and I am very honest with them about where I'm at in life. And I think, there's this phrase that I picked up. Man, I don't know who I can originally attribute to. I think it's Dr. Taraka Gunarathne, or Dr. T. What up, my friend? But he said you can't read the label of the bottle that you're in. And I think that that's really true in some instances. So, maybe you've got blind spots. Go talk to somebody who's going to see past them.
Nice. Another lead in.
Yeah.
You're good, man. You're good.
Great show. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being on. I know we said this will be our third time, and we probably ought to not have you back on again, but there's just so much goodness that comes from this conversation. So.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll stretch them out a little bit so your listeners don't get sick of me, but I'll come back. Let's do it.
We'll go for 2023.
Cheers to that, my friend.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. Would you hang out in the green room for me?
I'll be here. Yep.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll close out the show. Oh, what a great show again by Austin Grammon. Oh, he is phenomenal. So I'm just so thankful to have him on as a friend, and hopefully you've all gotten a lot out of that conversation as well. So if there's ever anything else that we can do, please don't hesitate to let us know. We have a great show coming up for you next week. Actually, on Thursday of this week, we're hoping to have a show, more of a webinar, where we talk more specifically about those 7 steps in order to come back or bounce back from your setback. So we want to make sure that we're doing as much as we can to help support you in that way. But coming on the show, the BounceBack Leadership Show on Monday, the 24th, will be none other than Susan Fitzell. And Susan is phenomenal. You're going to love her. She speaks on neurodiversity, and I'm just really excited to have her on, and I know that you're going to enjoy her as well. So again, if there's ever anything else that I can do or we can do, please don't hesitate to let me know. And as always, keep one eye on the road. We'll talk to you soon.